Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you are playing this pre-recorded session. This session is something that was done previously earlier this month, and if you have any questions at all about the class, then you can always email me at yoga.3 And think about deep stretch today. Okay, so taking your stretches just a little bit further than perhaps you normally can, just because we're going to go a little bit slower and take a little bit more focus over it. Good, so start to take in a deep breath in through your nose. And then a nice controlled breath out. As you do this, let your shoulders release and relax. Maybe just start to close your eyes. Good, and just have a little think about what's going on in your head at the moment. Just recognizing what thoughts are floating around your head. Just take a moment of stillness. And just flick your mind back to your breathing. See if you can try and breathe a little bit deeper. So right down here at the base of your lungs, where your diaphragm is. Your belly expand, contract. Steady motion. Forwards. And backwards. So let's just bring the shoulders up towards our ears and then roll them back and down. Good. This time we're going to inhale and take our arms up towards the ceiling and then fold gently over your legs. Good. Let's draw ourselves all the way back up. Reach our hands nice and high. Take the hands down by your side. Good, and press your hands down nice and firmly. Lift your shoulders to your ears as much as you can and then roll them back. In fact, start to lean back into your hands and start to look towards the ceiling. Good, push yourself back up to an upright seated position. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. And then this time we're going to sway over to the left-hand side. And then sway over to the right. Good, now just keep these movements steadily moving left to right, keeping your bum nicely firm down onto the floor. Good, next time you complete your wave movement, come back to center. Let's take a twist to the left-hand side, taking your left hand behind you. And then the same thing on the other side, little twist. And then come back to center. Good, let's just wiggle our fingers, make fists, open them up. Good, and then just start to rotate into your wrists as well, in both directions. And just your shoulders. Now we're going to take our left arm across the body, hook the other arm underneath, and just press that out to the side. See if you can keep your body face on, and then turn your head to the left. Good. Let's do the same thing, other side. So taking our right arm out, hooking the left arm under, and when you're ready, turning your head to the side. Breathe. Good. Come back to center. Slowly start to pad yourselves forwards so that you end up on all fours. And just take a careful moment to check that your knees are underneath your hips, your toes are tucked, your hands are underneath your shoulders, and your fingers are spread. Good, take a long breath in. And then let it go. Good, now we're going to start moving in broad circles, starting nice and small and slowly getting wider and wider around the mat. Good, so keep your breath nice and controlled as you do this. And wherever you are, start to go in the opposite directions, this time starting broad as you go round your mat, around your wrists, around your knees, and slowly bring it in a little bit tighter, a little bit shallower. Till eventually bring yourself to stillness. Good, just start to nod your head. And then shake it from side to side. Good. Now when you're ready, we're going to slide our left leg back. Good, now press that left heel back and press firmly with your hands to lift your chest nice and high. Look forward. Good, keep pressing that left heel back. Hold it there, breathe. Good, and then draw that knee back towards the center. Same thing on the other side. So let's take the right leg back. Press that heel back, make that leg nice and strong. Hands are pressing down as well. So elbows are almost locked. Look forwards, breathe. Good, and then bring that knee back underneath your hips. Good, this time we're going to take the left leg all the way back, but lift it away from the floor, still with the heel pressing back. Good, now we're going to come up high onto our right fingertips. And then we're going to start to walk our right fingers forwards until they can't go forwards anymore without moving our body forwards. And once you get to that stage, let's lift your hand off and reach it forwards. Perhaps your hand disappears into a Christmas tree. Breathe. And then bring everything back down towards the floor. Good, just wiggle your bum from side to side. And then we're going to do the same thing with the right leg. So when you're ready, let's take that right leg back. Press that heel back, keep that leg nice and strong. If you feel your hips opening up, so your right hip starts to lift, then start to bring that hip back down so that it's in line with the floor. Again, come nice and high onto your left fingertips. And then slowly start to spider move your fingertips forwards until you can't get them forwards any further. When you get to that point, reach the hand forwards. Breathe. Good, and then bring everything back down towards the floor. Good, again, just wiggle your hips. This time starting to dip into your shoulders as well. And then gently untuck your toes and sink yourself back into a child's pose. Let's bring ourselves up high onto our finger pads in our child's pose and let our head dip. Breathe. Here, now let's plant the hands nice and firmly down. Pull yourselves up so you're on all fours. Tuck your toes and then lift your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Good, and then just move yourself into whatever feels good into your downward facing dog. Maybe starting to pedal into the backs of your legs, or maybe shifting yourself forwards and back from plank to downward facing dog. Just whatever you need to do to start loosening your body up and feeling nice and comfortable in your downward facing dog. Breathe. Good. Now, wherever you are, pull forwards into a plank. Lower your knees down to the floor. Good. Untuck your toes and press them firmly down into the mat. Good. Now we're going to do a reverse chaturanga. So we're going to bring our hips down first into a cobra and then roll the rest of our body down towards the floor. Keep your shoulders back. Good. Now press firmly into the tops of your feet. Push back with your hands. Roll yourself back up into a cobra. Lift your hips back onto your knees and take yourself back into a child's pose. Good. Press your hands down nice and firmly again. Bring yourself up, all fours. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Again, see if you can try and keep your breath nice and steady here in your downward facing dog. Still moving your hips maybe from side to side or lengthening out into your legs. Good. Now again, inhale. Let's pull forwards into a plank. Then let's bring our left knee up towards our chest and then leave it down in between our hands, toes untucked. Slide your right foot back and lower that right knee down to the floor. Good. Let's come high onto the fingertips. Roll your shoulders back. Breathe. Open your chest and look forwards. Good. There's an option here to take your hands behind you and open your chest even further. Wherever you are, breathe. Good. Let's start to bring our hands back down onto the floor if you've reached your hands back and start to fold over that front knee as far as you can. You may even be able to bring your hands underneath your forehead and just rest down on your hands. Good. So now you should be feeling perhaps a stretch happening around here in the outer part of your left leg and into your bum. Good. Let's take our hands back down underneath our shoulders. Press yourself up. Make sure your back toes are still tucked. Lift the back knee away from the floor. And then we're going to lift up and back into a three-leg dog. Good. Let's bring that foot down behind us. Again, pull forwards into a plank. Good. Let's lower ourselves down through a chaturanga. And then curl ourselves back into a cobra. Good. Tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Long breath in. Steady breath out. Good. When you're ready, let's pull forwards again into a plank and then start to bring your right knee up towards the top of your chest. Good. Now see if you can drop that right knee down, toes untucked. Slide that left foot back so you can bring the knee of your left leg down. Good. Come high onto your fingertips, roll your shoulders back, open your chest. Again, option here to take your hands back. Holding yourself nice and strong with your legs. Breathe. Breath. Good. Let's bring those hands back down towards the floor and then fold over that front leg. Good. When you're ready, press yourself up. Lift the back knee. And then let's press ourselves up and back into a three-leg dog. Good, bring that leg down behind you. Pull forwards into a plank. Option to bring your knees to the floor if you wish, as you take yourself down through a chaturanga and up into a cobra. Open your chest, breathe. Good, let's lift our hips up. Take ourselves back into a downward facing dog. Good, now we're going to start to walk our feet up towards the top of the mat, taking your hands away whenever you feel like you need to, until you've walked your feet all the way up to the top of the mat. Good, now let's bend our knees nice and deeply, and then reach our hands up towards the ceiling. Good, now press your big toes down a little bit more firmly, and then start to lean back. Good, bring yourself back towards the front and bring your hands by your chest. Good, bend your knees nice and deeply and fold yourself back down towards the floor. So bending your knees as much as you need to get your hands down onto the mat. Good, now we're going to slide our right leg all the way to the back of the mat. We're going to charge this leg by pressing that heel back and coming high onto the toes. Keep your right hand planted into the floor, and then we're going to swoop our left arm forwards, up and back. Good, keep pressing down into the floor with your right hand. Breathe. Good, let's bring that hand back down towards the floor. Good, we're going to step the right foot in and again until it's about 3/4 of the way to the back of the mat. Good, keep a strong bend into that front knee. Reach your hands behind you so you stay folded over that leg. And then imagine that you're pulling with your hands something to draw yourself up into warrior one. Good, let's reverse our hands and take them this time up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Good, hands are going to come down onto our waist. Bend deeply into that front knee and then step yourself to the top of the mat. Good, just bring your legs into a small little bend, just shaking them out. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Again, press more weight into your toes so that you can maybe lean back a little bit before bringing yourselves forwards and down towards the floor. Good, fingertips touch the floor, bending the knees as much as you need to get those fingertips to touch the floor. As you then start to slide your left leg all the way to the back of the mat. Good, again, let's strengthen this leg. Lift from your inner thigh. Come high onto your toes. Left hand plants itself into the mat as you reach your right arm forwards, up and back. You may even be able to turn your head to look towards the ceiling. Breathe. Good, long breath in. Steady breath out. Long breath in. Steady breath out. Long breath in. Steady breath out. Good, let's cycle that right hand back down towards the floor. Step your left foot in a little bit and then a little bit more until you can get the heel down onto the floor. Good, still keeping a bend into your right knee. We're going to reach our hands back and keep our chest low. In fact, feel like you're trying to pull your chest forwards and look forwards, but still planting that left heel into the floor. Good, now imagine you're pulling on something to reach your chest up towards the ceiling. Reverse your hands and take it high towards the ceiling. Good, see if you can suck your belly button in towards your spine and reach. Breathe. Good, hands come down. towards your waist. And then we're going to step ourselves back up to the top of the mat. Good, again, bending into your knees, just to loosen them up. As you start to lift your arms towards the ceiling, fold yourself back down towards the floor. We're going to take our left foot to the back of the mat. We're going to turn the foot so that it's pointing out to the left-hand side. We're going to do the same thing with our right foot. So we're bringing ourselves horizontal onto the mat. Good, now just heel toe yourself so you're a little bit wider with your legs. And again, if you're finding it hard to reach the floor here, you may wish to bring some cushions, a pile of books, a little table, whatever you need to do to be able to bring the floor up to you. Okay, so we can still stick our bum back and have our hands touching something. Good, now I just want you to see if you can lift the inner arches of your feet. Okay, so they're going to try and lift directly up towards the ceiling. And you're going to try and press the outer edges of your feet into the floor, like you're trying to dig them in, making like a little gouge into your mat. Good, stick your bum back, keep your fingers towards the floor, look forwards, relax your shoulders, breathe. You should be feeling stretches happening down the outside of your legs. If you've naturally taken bends into the knees in order to stick your bum back, you can work on trying to straighten your legs as much as you're able to, and that will work the inner thighs. Wherever you are, breathe. Good. Now, if you're able to touch the floor with your hands, you have an option here to move your hands forwards. So you go into a wide-legged, downward facing dog. Only do this if you can touch the floor. Otherwise, stay on just working down the outer edges of your legs. Good, then wherever you are, bring your hands back underneath your chest and slowly begin to roll the body up, bringing your hands onto your waist. Good. Now, keeping our legs where they are, we're going to take a soft bend into the knees. Okay, this will help us to stick our bum back even further. Good. Now let's start with our right hand, sliding it down the outside of your right leg. So go as far as you're able to. You may just come to the knee. You may go further past the calf. You may even be able to go right down to the ankle or the floor. Just wherever you are, see if you can take your left shoulder back and look towards the ceiling. Good. There's an option here either to keep your hand on your waist or to reach it towards the ceiling into a variation triangle. Breathe. Good, wherever you are, hand comes back down onto the waist to help stabilize as you start to lift yourself back up into your wide leg stance. Good, again, see if you can get some buoyancy into your legs, so bending your knees just a little bit before you start to take your left hand down the outside of your left leg. Seeing how far you can get. You may find this side is a little bit different. I can't get quite as far on this side. That's about as far as I'm able to go. Good, I'm going to shift my right shoulder back, turn and look towards the ceiling, and then option to bring your other arm up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Hold it there. Good, let's bring our hands back down onto our waist. Slowly bring yourself back to center. Shift your shoulders back. And then again, fold yourself forwards. Still pressing down the outer edges of your feet as you begin to roll yourself down towards the floor or the pile of books whatever you need to get yourself towards the floor. Good, now from here, see if you can take your legs just one little step wider. Keep pressing your bum back until you can feel inner thighs starting to stretch. And then look forwards. Again, you can close your eyes here and breathe. Good, now this time, if you're able to touch the floor with your hands, we're going to take our hands behind us and underneath us. If your hands are on a pile of books or a table, then just keep them there. Now, if you've managed to walk your hands underneath you, you want to keep your shoulders lifted and still trying to press down the outer edges of your feet. Breathe. Okay, let's start to bring our hands back wherever you are underneath your face. Good, nice and slowly. Draw the body up. This time we're going to reach our hands up towards the ceiling. Reach them nice and high. Start to bend the knees as much as you can. See how low you're able to squat down with your legs this wide. Good, breathe. And then lift. Good, let's bring our hands back to our waist and slowly start to bring our feet closer towards one another until eventually we are back in the middle of our mat. Good, let's reach our hands towards the ceiling again and then bring them down so that the palms are facing forwards. Roll the shoulders back, reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling and feel nice and strong in a mountain pose. Just steadying your breath and slowly relaxing each part of your body, starting with your toes, working your way up, relaxing each part as you go. Good, then wherever you are, make your way back towards the top of your mat. Reach your hands up nice and high. And then fold yourself down towards the floor. Here we're going to step both legs back into a plank. Option to bring your knees to the mat if you wish, or you can keep them raised as you lower yourself down through a chaturanga and back into a cobra. Good, let your shoulders release, open your chest. And then lift your hips and take yourselves back into a child's pose. Breathe. Let's draw ourselves all the way back up into our downward facing dog. And we're now going to just move through pigeon on either side. So when you're ready, pull forwards, take your right knee with you. Now take your right knee and place it down behind your right wrist. If you're able to, turn the toes out towards the left-hand side or out as far as you're able. If this is too much for you, you can go back to what we were doing before, which is bringing the knee in front of the hands. Sorry, in between the hands. Good, if you've managed to get to this stage, slide your leg back. Allow your hips to come down. You should feel an intense stretch happening on the inner thighs. Okay, let's come nice and high onto our fingertips so that we can give some height to our pigeon. Good, now I want you to squeeze your legs together. Okay, so feel like you're trying to pull the two towards one another, which will build strength to be able to lift yourselves up, and you may even be able to take your hands away from the floor. If it's too much, just to take them away, you can rest your hands on your foot and your inner thigh and look forwards. If you've managed to take your hands away, just bring them into a prayer. Breathe. Good. Now, wherever you are, hands come back down onto the floor and then start to move them forwards. Okay? You may just have to have your hands forwards like this and feel the stretch moving its way further in on your inner thighs. Or you might be able to bring your elbows to the floor. Or you might be able to move fully forwards to fold your head down towards the floor. Okay, so you could be anywhere in that measure. Try and find somewhere that stretches your muscles, but still gives you that ability to hold it and to breathe. Listen to your body. And breathe. Wherever you are, just take yourself back with your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to lift the back knee away from the floor and then just slide the other leg back and press those heels back into a plank. Good, let's lift those hips high into a downward facing dog. Before pulling forwards, knees to the mat if you wish. Take yourself through a chaturanga and a cobra. And take yourselves back into downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So draw your left leg up, knee goes behind left wrist, toes go a little bit out to the side. Good, then it's a case of just shifting your feet back, your back foot back, and lowering your knee towards the mat. Good, let's come high. Onto our fingertips. Open the chest. This may be as far as you wish to go. Otherwise, start to squeeze your legs towards one another, which will bring that energy up into your pelvis and will enable you to take your hands off, or at least bring them up to place onto your inner knee and foot. Or you may have your hands in prayer. Wherever you are, breathe. Good, let's slowly make our way back down towards the floor. And again, find that point that you think that you can get to, the lowest possible point, where you can hold this pose and breathe. Good, let's start to move ourselves back up. Bringing our hands underneath our shoulders, tucking our back toe to lift our back knee. Slide that left leg back, feel the difference. Press those heels back, keep the legs long. Pull forwards, lower the knees if you need to, and take yourself through a chaturanga, back into a cobra. Good, tuck the toes and go back into a downward facing dog before bringing your knees to the floor, untucking the toes and pulling yourself back into a restorative child's pose. So just bringing your arms around your legs, wherever feels comfortable. Breathe. Good, and then slowly roll yourself up so that you're sitting on your knees. Or if that's not comfortable for you, you can always shift yourself round to sit on your bum, like this. We're going to work on shoulders, but it doesn't matter how you're sitting. So just make sure that whichever way you're sitting comfortably. Here, let's lift our arms up towards the ceiling. Bring our elbows down in line with our shoulders, making a cactus shape. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open the chest. Here, we're going to start to draw the elbows together, pressing them firmly together and the hands, interlace the fingers, and then start to lengthen out your arms until your elbows part. Good. Again, let's draw those hands up towards the ceiling, brushing your ears with your biceps. Uninterlace your fingers and bring yourself back to your cactus arms. Breathe. As you exhale, draw those arms together. Squeeze them nice and tightly, interlace the fingers, and then press those fists away. Good, let's lift again. Brush the ears with your biceps. And then bring your arms down into that cactus, puff the chest. This time we're going to lengthen our arms out to the side and start to take them a bit back behind us. We're opening our chest even more. Here, let's start to take the arms down towards the floor until you feel your fingers touch the floor. When they do, take them all the way back and out to the side. See if you could shift them back a little bit more. This time we're going to reach them up towards the ceiling until thumbs touch. And then we're going to take them wide, then shift them back, and then down towards the floor. Good, relax your shoulders, just give them a little shrug. And then shift yourself onto your bum. Swing your legs around. Feet planting flat down into the floor. Lift your chest to straighten your back. Take your hands parallel to the floor. And then slowly start to roll yourself back and down towards the floor. Allow the hands to come down and rest. And let your body sink down into the floor. When you're ready, start to draw your knees in towards your chest and grab hold of them with your arms. Squeeze them as tightly as you can towards your chest and gently just rock and roll around your lower back. Loosen your jaw and try and relax all of your face muscles. Let's squeeze those knees just a little tighter up before allowing our feet to come down towards the floor. Good, our hands are going to go down by our side, palms facing down. Feet are going to be roughly hip distance apart. When you're ready, we're going to start to lift our hips directly up towards the ceiling. Bring your chin towards your chest as you do so. Good, and then slowly begin to bring your hips down towards the floor. Nice and controlled. Nice and slow. Here, we're going to take our feet so they are mat distance apart. So you can feel the outer edges of the mat with the outer edges of your feet. Start to bring your knees to touch. We're going to reach our right arm back behind us. Take a long breath in. As you exhale, take the knees over towards the left-hand side. You can rest your left hand on your belly. Breathe. Let's draw those knees back up. Swap over your hands, so taking the left hand behind you, right hand to rest on your belly. Take a long breath in. And exhale, take the knees over to the right hand side. Let's slowly move those knees back towards the center. We're going to take both arms over our head. And we're slowly going to press our feet forwards. Take a long breath in through your nose and stretch your hands back behind you. Point your toes like dancing. And you feel your lower back gently lifting away from the floor. And release. Slowly start to bring your hands down by your side. Your toes play out to either side. Breathe through your nose. And let it go. Think about what is going through your mind, your thoughts, and whisper hello around your head. Slowly let your body pretend breathing. Bring your breath up. Back. And life into your toes. I'm going to squeeze. Doing the same thing with your hands. Open fists and open them out. Start to wiggle your nose. Same more breath. So take a long breath in through your nose. As you get to the top of that inhale, draw the knees in towards your chest. Exhale. A little closer. Slowly start to roll yourself over to either the right or the left hand side. Rolling yourself up into a seated position you had at the beginning of today's class. Allow your crown of head to reach towards the ceiling as you let your shoulders release. Take a long breath in and let it go. Thank you for joining today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, whatever that entails for you. And to all of us who practice together, but most importantly, to yourselves, you can bow and say, Namaste.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.
Bye.